Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim was-salatu was-salamu ala ashraf al-mursaleen. The number of verses in the Quran is 6,236 verses. And among 6,236 verses, we find 3,124 verses, more than half of the verses of the Quran, which end with the letter Noun. But why the letter Noun? The letter Noun because it is the letter at the end of the word Quran. Subhanallah. The last verse that ends with the letter Noun in the Quran is verse 6 of Surah Al-Kafirun. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. This verse has number 6, and it is in Surah Al-Kafirun, which has number 109. 109 add 6, we obtain 115, and 115 is 23 multiplied 5. And the Quran has been revealed in 23 years, and the pillars of the Islam are 5 pillars. The word Quran ends with the letter Noun, and the Quran ends with the Surah An-Nas, which has 6 verses, and the last verse which ends with the letter Noun has the number 6 and is found in Surah Al-Kafirun, which contains 6 verses. There are only 2 surahs in the Quran of which the number of verses is 6 verses. That's Surah Al-Kafirun and Surah An-Nas. How many verses do you expect after this verse? After Surah Al-Kafirun, there are 5 surahs. We have the 5 surahs with the number of verses. Surah An-Nasr, 3 verses. Al-Masad, 5 verses. Al-Ikhlas, 4 verses. Al-Falaq, 5 verses. And An-Nas, 6 verses. The sum of these numbers will obtain 23 verses. So we have 23, and 23 is the number of years of the revelation of the Quran. We find the 23 verses in 5 surahs, and 5 is the number of pillars of Islam. Subhanallah. The amazing thing is the repetition of the letter Noun in the 5 surahs. We have the surahs with the repetition of the letter Noun. In An-Nasr, the Noun is repeated 6 times. Al-Masad, 4 times. Al-Ikhlas, 1 time. Al-Falaq, 5 times. And An-Nas, 9 times. The sum of these numbers we obtain 25. So in the 5 surahs, the letter Noun is repeated 25 times, and 25 is the alphabetical order of the letter Noun. Is there a relationship between the Quran, the letter Noun, and the number 25? In the Quran, surah number 25 is Surah Al-Furqan, and Al-Furqan is one of the names of the Quran. The letter Noun is written with 3 letters. Noun. If we take the 3 letters with their alphabetical orders, we obtain Noun 25, Waw 27, and Noun 25. If we add the 3 alphabetical orders, we obtain 77. And 77 is the number of verses in Surah Al-Furqan. Subhanallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.